thought that buying a tripod with lights. You can see me. How lovely. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Chloe if you're new here, and I love to talk about all things books. In today's video, I thought I would go through my top 25 books that I read, listened to, all of the above in 2025. Now, before we get into the video, I do also have a small bit of bookish mail, so I thought it was perfectly appropriate for us to open this together. And it does tie in to this video. And inside we have two books. One book that I have listened to and I'm obsessed with, and I want to get a tattoo of it. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favourite ever. I'm obsessed, which is Normal People by Sally Rooney. This is fantastic. This started my long lost obsession with Paul Mescal and Daisy Jones. Now, this came in a bundle on TikTok Shop with Conversation with Friends. I have been dying to read this. I've heard so many people say that this is fantastic, and if it's anything to go by, I imagine it absolutely will be. So I also picked up Conversation with Friends, but this book leads very strongly into today's topic. Okay, so I'm going to start off with physical books that I read during 2025. Now, some of these are books that I've had as an audio book, and I've decided to get the physical book because I loved it so much. And I think it wouldn't be in the top 25 of 2025 if that wasn't the case. Starting off extremely strong, we have Alchemized by Senlin Yu. Some people loved this, some people hated it. And I very much agree on the basis that the first part of the book, you haven't got a clue what's going on, and it does make you realise that you do need to persevere and you will understand as it goes on, and that is the point. I am a massive Harry Potter fan. However, I would like to say that I tried not to connect it. I tried to think of it as its own story. When I pictured the characters, I didn't picture them as, you know, Tom Felton and Emma Watson, for example. I pictured them as their own characters. And I absolutely adored it. I thought it was fantastic. There's a bit in this book at the end, and this is another reason why I think having the physical copy is just the best. Anyone who's read this will know how heartbreaking this bit is, and the second I got the physical copy, it's the first thing I did was look at this page, and it breaks my heart. I rated this 5 stars on my Goodreads, and I will stick to my guns with that. I bought the physical copy because I loved it that much, and it is a trophy. Look at the size of it. It is absolutely huge. I certainly wouldn't recommend this to everybody. My little brother is a massive Harry Potter fan. This would not interest him in the slightest. But then I also have some friends that aren't into Harry Potter that I think would really enjoy this. So it's definitely kind of just taken some inspiration. I definitely don't feel you could read this and not know anything about Harry Potter. Either way, it's a 10 out of 10 from me, 5 out of 5 stars, and yes, this was definitely on my top 25 for 2025. Now, I don't really get many hardcovers for books because I definitely am more of a paperback girly. I feel like you're either one or the other. I prefer paperbacks, I prefer reading them, I find them more comfortable, but I do make some exceptions, i.e. with this lovely one behind me. Also with this one, which is November 9 by Colleen Hoover. I'm always a bit meh with Colleen Hoover books. I find that I either really love them or I'm just a bit over them. I loved this one personally. My favourite colours, it's holographic, my favourite flowers, and my birthday is also November 9th. So when I saw this special edition copy, it kind of just pulled me in. But I did listen to this on audio, and I would love to reread it, honestly, because I really thoroughly enjoyed this book. I even lent it to my mum and she loved it. So it's definitely a well-rounded one. I think I did rate this 5 stars as well. As I said, there's not many Colleen Hoover books that I rate 5 stars. I find they're very hit and miss for me. I either love it or I absolutely don't. But this one I absolutely loved. I loved the whole trope where they only meet up once a year on the 9th of November, and in that time they don't speak for for the rest of the year, and yet still this amazing story evolves around it, and they care for each other so much that I really like it, and I really enjoy it, and I would recommend this to anyone who enjoys more romancy style books. Okay, so it wouldn't be a 2025's favourite if I didn't include possibly my favourite book series I've ever read, and I really am wanting to do a reread of these. However, they are quite chunky and they take up a lot of time, and my TBR is so long that I may be an audible job for these so I can still enjoy them again and again, and that is the Boys of Tommen series. This is Binding and Keeping 13. Chloe Walsh, we need more immediately, first of all, because I need to fill this addiction. This is possibly one of, in my opinion, of course everything is my opinion, this is my video, yours may differ. In my opinion, these were some of the most moving, amazing books. I absolutely adore these. When I got these, I cried. So that puts it into perspective of how much these mean to me and how much I would never ever stop recommending them. There are of course a lot of dark tropes in there, but there's also some really lovely bits, and there's some really lovely characters. Gibbsy is hilarious. Johnny is a gentleman. Joey is, well, he's Joey. He's one of my favourites, but there's very complex narratives and scenes in these books, but at the same time they are very precious. They really set the scene, and Chloe Walsh does an absolutely fantastic job, in my opinion, of completely portraying these kind of scenarios that happen to real people in real life. And yeah, I just think they're absolutely phenomenal. I'm not going to go into them too much because I can talk about these forever, but all of these books got 5 stars from me. They are absolutely some of my favourite reads I think I've ever read, honestly, and I could not recommend these enough. If you can read a book with sort of forceful sexual relations, that's, I think, the nicest way I can put it, to not be kicked off YouTube, and domestic violence, then these are certainly something that I would recommend. They can be triggering, so that is just, of course, as a disclaimer, but yeah, I couldn't recommend these more. 5 stars all round. Next, I'm going to move on to some other books. So, of course, I mentioned Normal People, but this is definitely on my top 2025 reads. I absolutely adore this. I've already gone into this a little bit on this video, so I won't go into it much more. If you're not a reader and somehow you've still stumbled across at my video, you can take one thing away from this: watch the show. There's not many times I would say to somebody, oh, you can watch the show if you've not read the book. Like, the book is obviously always better, and I will die on that hill. However, saying that, Normal People, the show, is so accurate to the book. The dialogue is word for word in certain situations that I'm like, and I've seen the show a lot. Like, I think when I feel like being depressed, I've just scratched a massive thing in my head. Please just ignore. Yeah, if I could recommend a show that is very similar to the books, this is the one. This is the one. Okay, I have 2 more physical books by the same author here, which is Abby Jimenez. The first one being Just for the Summer. I picked this up when me and my partner were in Brussels for the weekend, because I just fancied to read something during the travels, and I absolutely adored this book. Again, I also lent it to my mum, and she also very much enjoyed it. It's just so sweet. I just love it. I mean, there's yearning, and then there's getting in a unicorn floaty and going to her. Do you know what I mean? If you know, you know. I just love it. I love love. I just love love. I think that's what you need to take away from this video, is I love books. They're like my fave. Again, it was a 5-star read for me. I felt like I couldn't put it down. I found the characters very likeable, apart from the main female protagonist's mum. I thought she was absolutely dire, but that was the point. And if you read it, you'll understand what I mean, that I just couldn't stand that. But that added to the story, so that is the point. I just thoroughly enjoyed this book. I couldn't recommend this enough, and certainly would recommend it to add it to your 2026 list if you haven't already. On to another Abby Jimenez book is Yours Truly. Now, I also read this and really enjoyed this book as well. And I thoroughly enjoyed this book as well. There's a certain scene in this book in the basement that really switched the gears for me, and I thoroughly was shocked, surprised, loved it, everything about it. If you've read it, you'll know exactly what scene I'm talking about. It's so good. It's just really good. I love anything like this. This also kind of gives the same vibes as some of Ali Hazelwood's, especially all of the Love on the Brain, things like that. Now, I've only read Love Hypothesis, and that didn't sadly make it into this list, but I definitely did thoroughly enjoy it, and this gives the same vibes. But I definitely preferred this of the two if I was to put them in any comparison. But yes, very cute. Gorgeous colour cover as well. If I could paint my room this colour over raspberry pink, I would, but I feel like this would give me a headache. So the next one on this list is by Lynn Painter, and that is Better Than the Movies. I absolutely adore the storyline of these two characters. Wes Bennett is the epitome of what you'd imagine a book boyfriend would be. He is sweet, he is yearny, but he's still that like perfect amount of bullying and sarcasm that come along with it. Now, I also listened to the second one, which is Nothing Like the Movies, and the cover is this purple on the back here. I listened to that one, but I don't have the physical copy because I had the first one and I couldn't get enough, so I had to carry on. This is so good. I really thoroughly enjoy it. It's definitely more of a teen YA almost kind of vibe. It doesn't have many spicy scenes like some of the other books that I've mentioned. A lot of these do. This doesn't, but I kind of love that because of it. It still sticks to that innocent side of being a teenager and finally like finding your feet with love and, you know, realising who you are a little bit and kind of understanding that other people can love you exactly as you represent yourself to people. And I think this book does a really great and lovely job of that. It still has a lot of teen awkwardness and firsts and things like that, which I think really adds to the sweetness of it, and it is making you giggling and kicking your feet when something starts to happen. And I really adore that in a book, and I find that it's very difficult to get a book that does that well, and I feel like Lynn Painter just smashed it. The second book as well was also very good. The next book I'm choosing is the second book in the Twisted series by Anna Hyung. This is Twisted Games, which follows Bridget and Reese. He's just the best. This was my favourite book of the series. Now, I liked them all thoroughly. I enjoyed the whole series, but gun to my head, this is the best one, in my opinion. Don't hurt me. This is the best one in my opinion. I absolutely adored Bridget and Reese's characters and their progression and the forbidden love of it all, and then the secrecy of it all. I just was obsessed with this. I love the trope. It's the best. A bodyguard and a princess. The throne room. The bar. So good. I might need to reread this one because I was glued. When I tell you I was glued to the pages. It was so good. So although I did love the whole series, this was definitely my favourite one and the one I gave 5 stars. The others I think I gave them all 4s because they all were fantastic and I really liked them. But this was just my best one. This one just topped the rest. So, as you guys know, I got a Kindle for Christmas. Maybe you don't know, actually. If you're new here, I have a TikTok, and before I started doing YouTube videos, I was posting the odd little TikTok-y. And in that I did talk about the fact that I got a Kindle for Christmas. So because I got a Kindle for Christmas, of course, the first thing I had to do was read a book on this Kindle, which I did. And that means that this book snuck into my 2025 reads. I only managed to read one book on my Kindle because in the sort of 6 days, towards the end of the year, I swept through one of the books, and that was Mile High by Liz Tomford. It was the first book in the Windy City series, and I'm hooked. You guys may have seen my video last week where I was talking about how I needed to read my TBR. Well, I didn't. I read Play Along, which is the 4th book in the Winter Seas installment. So I'm busted because I've got one book left. But I'm kind of like holding off reading it because I think it's going to depress me that it's over. So maybe this is a good thing because I can slow down. But yes, it's here. Well, that's not it. That's actually Rewind It Back. That's the last book in the series. Once I finished a book, I automatically will like undownload it and return it to Kindle Unlimited so I can download more books, because I'm very much like I like a constant rotation of books at my mercy at all times. As you can see, I am a good chunk away, Dear Debbie. Good chunk of the way through Dear Debbie, and I will be finishing that tonight. I've told myself I'm finishing it tonight, so that is what I'll be doing. So I'm actually doing very well on my February TBR. I'll have you know. I'm very much on target. If anything, I'm above target, because I think once I finish Dear Debbie, I only have 2 books left, and I read an extra book already, and we're on the 9th of February. Girl, I'm doing good. Watch though, because I'll be so slow reading you up to and I won't read anything else. But it's okay. It's not a competition, except me. I'm competing against myself. I had a goal last year to read 50 books. I read 60 something. I've set my goal as 100 books this year. I've doubled. I have times 2 my goal. That is how determined I am to absorb words. I just like to be very, what's the word? Not obnoxious. That's the word that's coming to mind. That's not the word I mean though. I don't know. Anyway, that was the only physical book that I physically read. Does that make sense? I think it does. Because next we're talking audiobooks. Now I have my trusty Powerless journal, which I write down everything that I need to remember when I'm recording, because my phone is where I record, which also has my whole life on it. So I need this here so that I can tell you stuff and don't have to keep pausing the video. Starting with The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Now I know we have mixed feelings about the Frida McFadden and The Housemaid. Personally, of all the Frida McFadden books that I have read, I think I've read about 5 or 6 now, nearly 7. This one was the one that I was most surprised by the ending. The one that actually made me go, ah, she's got me there. Like, fab. Well done, Frida, because you got me. I still haven't seen the movie. I really want to. I just never got around to it, and I don't even think it's in the cinemas anymore. So I'm gonna have to wait until I can watch it at home, which is great actually, because I don't need to get dressed then, and everyone's happy. So Frida McFadden, The Housemaid. I gave that a 5. I'm pretty sure I gave that a 5. Either way, it's a book that I still remember now, and still remember how it made me feel reading it and going, It gave me everything. And I loved that. Another book that I listened to during 2025 that definitely made it into my top 2025 was Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. Now, this is self-explanatory. Now, I didn't include in any of my roundup rereads, which I reread the whole of The Hunger Games because it's The Hunger Games, come on. And then at the very end, I treated myself with a little sprinkle of Sunrise on the Reaping. Amazing. Haymitch was one of my favourite characters in Hunger Games, so him having his own book and learning more about his story was absolutely amazing. I absolutely adore it, and I cannot wait for the film to come out. It comes out near my birthday, the end of the year, and I will be using that as the perfect excuse that everybody I know and love needs to come and watch it and support me while I cry in the cinema. It was fantastic. 5 stars. It was everything I wanted it to be, honestly. I cannot wait to see them bring it to screen. I really hope they do the story justice like they have done for all the others. There's, of course, details that I know are going to be missing. The same with all of the Hunger Games. There's certain things in the books that don't happen in the films, and that is guarantee across the board for any movie adaptation, because there's so much dialogue and small intricate details that happen in books that you can't always fit into a 2-hour film. 3 hours of film even. But the book was absolutely insane. If you've still not got around to it, I do fully recommend it. It's heart-wrenching, it's gut-wrenching, it's exciting, it's exhilarating. It's everything you want in a Hunger Games book, and Suzanne has not disappointed us yet again. The next book on my list is Verity by Colleen Hoover. This again was another book that I just didn't see the ending coming, and it really took me by surprise. Colleen Hoover got me a few times, and that was the second time she got me. It was good. I'll get handed to her. It was good. She got me. I can't wait for the film to come out. I definitely think the casting choice wouldn't have always been my first, but I am very intrigued to see how the cast that has been chosen is going to portray these characters, and I really hope they do it justice, because I feel like it could be made into a really, really great movie. The book was great. I did really enjoy the book. I found that, again, what happened was not what I was thinking was going to happen, and I was fixed. I remember it so vividly. I had my headphones on. I was building Lego. I was in my zen moment, right? Listening to Verity. I was like, yeah, this is great. Huh? Honest reaction. Huh? What was that? What just happened? Rewind. 10 seconds at a time. What? What did you just say? That is how I felt. I was flabbergasted. The next ones on my list are A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Wow, that is a mouthful. By Holly Jackson. And also Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. This is the first and second book in the same series. I really enjoyed these. They again made these into a TV show. If you want my honest opinion, I pictured Pip very differently to how she was portrayed. Maybe that's just me, but visually I pictured someone very different. Maybe I missed a character description or something, but either way, they're really good. I really like them. The third book is also really good, which I think is As Good as Dead. I may even honourable mention for the third one as well. I just think they're really good. I don't think they're too gruesome, but they're gruesome enough that it keeps you intrigued. Yeah, they're kind of murder mystery style stuff, but nothing too gruesome. I really, really enjoyed them, honestly. I think I literally read them back to back and I was sold. We were painting our house at the time, and I don't think I spoke to Josh all weekend. I had my headphones on the entire time and I literally whizzed through all three. The next one in the same kind of realm of category, I guess, is How to Kill Your Family by Bella Mackie. I really loved this. I don't know much on the web of what other people's opinions of this book were. I found it thoroughly entertaining. Yes, the character, the main protagonist, is a little bit questionable in her motives, but did I thoroughly enjoy it? Yes. Did I find her character and her sense of humour entertaining? Yes, because I have a very dark, questionable sense of humour myself, so I did find her very entertaining. So for me personally, I genuinely was laughing out loud. You know when people LOL? Yeah, I did. I actually LOL'd outside of my head. And I'm not ashamed to admit it. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. Next book is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and that is of course by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I loved this book. This is the story that follows Evelyn Hugo and her story up to fame and how she got a name for herself, and it is told through herself, of course, as well as somebody interviewing her for an article in a paper. It is fantastic. I don't really, there's certain books, some people like this format of book. I adore it. I find it so interesting to get sort of two takes from, in the same chapter, you're getting 2 different timelines, and it's based off this interview that's being done. I find it a very, very, very interesting and clever way of writing, and I think that Taylor did a fantastic job of doing that. The story was incredibly moving. It had a lot of things in it that you just, especially earlier on in the book, you would just not expect to happen, and it's incredibly moving, and I would fully recommend it. I gave it 5 stars. I'm not even going to go into that much more. I just think you should listen to it. If you listen to it, read it, whatever's best for you, give it a chance. The next one is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. Now, I mentioned this briefly in my wrap-up in my last video. It's great. It's really good. The book is very good. I personally actually think I would have preferred it as an audio, so I'm glad that I listened to it rather than physically read it, because the accents and the twangs of how they're talking really adds and builds this kind of world around you of how the characters are and how they talk, and you kind of can live with them a little bit more. I just thought it was fantastic. I gave it 5 stars. I actually did miss one physical book that I've still got downstairs, because if you didn't know, all my physical books that I've read are downstairs, and we are in my bedroom, which is upstairs. So I have had to lug all these upstairs specifically for you, because only my TBR books stay upstairs, because I don't really know why, actually. I've never really thought about my thought process in doing this. But there is another physical book that I read in the month of December that I really enjoyed, which was Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. It's a fantastic sprayed edge. It's beautiful. It's got a very handsome man and a very beautiful lady on the cover. It's downstairs because I ain't gonna go get it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm lazy. But it's fantastic. It follows a shop owner, an antique shop owner, and a ghost of Christmas past who haunts her, and you follow their journey and try and figure out why he's haunting her, because she seems like a really nice girl. There's nothing overly, she's never done anything that bad that would consider needing haunting, and it's a really good story that follows this. It's a very beautiful love story, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was very sweet. It was the perfect book at Christmas. I definitely think it's my favourite book that I read in December of last year. And yeah, I would recommend it. Maybe definitely more around Christmas time. I feel like it's a bit weird to like read it in the middle of summer. But you do you, boo. You do you. But it's very good. I very enjoyed it, and I gave that 5 stars as well. The next book on this list of my top 25 for 25 is Daisy Jones and the Six. This is another book that is very much similar to Evelyn Hugo in regard to it being set up as an interview style. Now, having this as an audiobook definitely, in my opinion, is the way forward, because each character has a different voice. The audiobook I listened to, every character had a different voice. So when you're listening to it as each band member is being interviewed sort of back and forth, you really were starting to follow it a bit more, where I feel like as a book I would have maybe struggled with that a little bit. I do find sometimes that if the POV changes too quickly, you kind of can't wrap your head around who's talking and you're going, ah. I feel like as an audiobook it worked and it did it justice, and it felt like I was kind of listening to a podcast. Honestly, it felt like an interview in the best way possible. Again, there's a show of it. So everything I'm talking about, I'm that late to the game that shows and TVs and films have already been made about these. But it's really, really good. Again, it follows the main protagonist, which is Daisy Jones. Daisy Jones and the Six follows a girl, obviously, follows a girl as she joins a band. And I don't want to go into too much of it because I feel like the book speaks for itself. It follows her and this band as they rise to fame in the 70s. And into the 80s, I believe. It's been a few months since I've read it, but I believe that's the correct era. And it's just interesting. It's very drama ridden. There's a little bit of love, there's a lot of drama, there's drugs. It's in that era, and I just thoroughly would recommend it, especially if you are looking for something maybe as a different format to read or listen to. It's certainly something that I really thoroughly enjoyed and was completely glued to it when I was listening to it. The next book that's on this list is One Day by David Nichols. Now, again, another series and a movie. This is both. But if you want my opinion, the series wins. The series is an awful lot more accurate to the book than the film, understandably, because they had a lot more time to get the information in there. The book is, in my opinion, it's so good. It's very detailed into like the little things, like the car that Emma was driving. I'm pretty sure it's a yellow Fiat Panda, if I remember correctly. Hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure it is. And I remember it so vividly because I remember thinking while listening to them narrate this book that, wow, that's like, these are some really poignant details, and it really helped you visualize certain scenes. Now, of course, if any of you have watched the movie, the series, or read the book, it is gut-wrenching. And I listened to this in the same proximity as I listen to normal people, and I was just a blubbering mess for a month because between the two of them I was just absolutely devastated, but in the best way possible. It's so good, it's so heart-wrenching. It follows a boy and a girl, best friends, that didn't really know each other and then became friends towards the end of their university, and they stayed in touch, and it's always been that she's loved him always and he only loved her when it was too late, and that's kind of the premise of the story, and it's just gut-wrenching, but it is so good, and I'd fully recommend it. If you love something that's going to make you cry, because I love a good cry. I know that's not normal, but I love a good cry, and it definitely does that. One of the next ones that I listened to was Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garms. My own handwriting is terrible. Again, this follows another lady who has a TV show while cooking, talking about science. isn't really a romance. It's not really anything like that. I don't really know how to quite describe this book, but I did really enjoy it because it was something different. At first, when you're kind of getting into it, you're not really sure where the book is going or what the purpose of it is or where the storyline is going to take you, but towards the end of the book you're feeling quite fulfilled with how it overall ends, in my opinion. And again, I rated it 5 stars. I don't want to go into this one in too much detail because I feel like the plot line is very important, and all you need to know is it's a very smart lady who teaches science on a cooking show because she's a woman, and I think the career wouldn't have been taken too seriously. So she's a housewife that teaches how to be a scientist. It's very good. I don't even know if that was 25, you know. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. I'm going to try and post once a week, but of course I'm a busy girl with busy schedules, so I might pre-record a few videos and just get them edited and uploaded whenever I can. But I really do hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll see you again next week. Bye!